You can't be afraid of what everybody thinks if you want to grow and excel in life. Driven Mofos, welcome back to another episode of The Underestimated Entrepreneur. Look, today I want to talk about the challenge that so many of you face and that holds a lot of you back. And it really comes down to what other people think of you. Now, we are in the social media age. There is a few great things with social media and a few not so great things with social media. One of the great things with social media is you get to share your message with the world, and hopefully it's an intelligent message. Hopefully you're helping people or you're doing your thing, right? Hopefully you got a skill set or something that you can share with the world. The problem is you're sharing it with the world of people who don't have intelligent things to say, who don't have any value to offer to the world, and who literally sit there eating Cheetos and Doritos off of their belly, who are probably living in their mum's basement with 14 cats, right? These are the types of people that are out there. They're mainly 15-year-old kids who have never had any life experience and who don't even have a proper functioning prefrontal cortex where they can think intelligently. Or the other types of people are people who are in their, late 40s. It's probably a late 40s male who has never achieved anything, who is very bitter and angry. And they sit in a little dark room and they just want to comment on everyone's stuff and tell you how to live. Now, by the way, I'm partially joking and profiling people here, but that's really what it comes down to. These people aren't people that are intelligent, who have anything intelligent to offer the world. A lot of the people that I get on TikTok, who I get on Instagram, or who I get on Facebook, the majority of them have fake profiles. So they're fake profiles. They don't even have the courage to be something or to do something or to stand up to their word. So we already know that they lack courage. They have low self-worth. They probably have low self-esteem from a childhood where they had a parent who didn't give them attention. And so now they're an adult or whatever age they are who are bitter and angry and want attention from somewhere. Like if you've got kids, a kid will throw a tantrum or a kid will do something destructive in order to get attention if you don't give it beneficial feedback or connection in a empowering way. Now, I used to be like that as a kid. My mum put a lot of pressure on me. I was always in trouble. So I used to just do shit to get in trouble because it would give me some form of connection with my mum. That happened up until I was actually an adult. So these are just basic patterns of behavior around human behavior especially. So kids, when they're not getting attention or they feel like they're not valued in some way, shape or form and they're confined to a box, will normally get in trouble. That happens to adults also. If adults aren't getting positive reinforcement in some way, shape or form because they're achieving things, they're doing something that's important to them, they're taking on challenges, they're growing, and they're excelling at life. If they're not doing that, then they're going to look for attention elsewhere. So they're going to do it by complaining, by being bitter, by creating drama, right? These are common practices that humans go through. You might have people in your family who are always surrounded in drama. I guarantee if they just diverted their focus towards something more empowering, more meaningful to them, and they worked on that shit, they wouldn't have time for drama, right? Sometimes this happens in my family where family members will come to me with some sort of bullshit drama and I just listen to it for like 2 minutes and then I'm like, look, I don't have time to even think about this shit. And then I just keep going with doing what I'm doing. I really don't care about the drama and the bullshit, right? People can figure out their own crap. But that's what happens when you're extremely driven or you've got shit to do. Now, I know that if most of the people who are commenting crap on social media got their fat asses and went to the gym and actually had a workout and exercise, they would feel better about themselves. And instead of spending an hour or 2 hours commenting on shit that triggers them, they would actually feel better about themselves and they would have spent that 2 hours in the gym. Just like there are lots of people online who create drama and all this crap, if they just spent more time connecting with loved ones, now if they can't connect with loved ones, you've got to ask why not. Probably they're shit communicators, hence why they do what they do on social media. But if they put the time and effort into learning communication skills, learning how to understand other people's values, learning how to communicate with people around them and do it in a way that's beneficial to the people that they're communicating with, they would probably be a lot greater leader in their family dynamic. They would probably be a lot better in their life. I meet so many business owners or even people who come to my events and they're in an intimate relationship or they've got kids and their communication skills are so poor. And then they complain about their friends, their family, their staff. But what they don't understand is a lot of the time they're projecting their values and their ideals onto people around them. And then when people don't conform, they get pissed off with them. Instead of understanding how to get the best out of people around them through the communication skills and then drive them in a manner where both parties get what they want. That's leadership. So these people who do that and who focus on you or who are focused on other people around them, they're normally not focused on themselves. So my suggestion is, look, if you're focusing on people around you, if you're stressed about family, if you're stressed about people around you, if you're stressed about being criticized on social media, go back and create a bigger mission. Go back and create bigger goals. And then what will happen is that you will get more motivation, more energy, and more enthusiasm. And as your time gets more busy, your brain doesn't have time to be preoccupied by bullshit from other people. That's really what it comes down to. When I meet a lot of people and they say, oh, I'm afraid of what other people think. The reason why that is that their time isn't packed out enough, so they have time to think about that. If you're busy, you do not have time to think about it because you've got too much other shit going on. Like if your child is sick and you've got to get out of bed, and you're sitting there on social media and someone's criticizing you and you're stressed out, once your child cries and you get out of bed, you completely stop thinking about that thing. If you're going to the gym and you're smashing a workout with a couple of close people around you, you're not thinking about the person who's talking shit on social media, who's never met you, knows nothing about you, doesn't understand anything about you. So my suggestion is, don't worry about that stuff. Fill up your time with more important things and then just get to work. I really honestly believe that most people don't put themselves out to the world and don't get what they want just because they're so afraid. But look, that fear was there for an important point. Thousands of years ago, maybe even millions of years ago, when we were hunters and gatherers, if we were kicked out of the tribe, it meant that we would die. We would literally die if we weren't in a tribe, because I couldn't sleep without being attacked by a jaguar, or, being attacked by an ant's nest, or by lying on an ant's nest and being attacked. Like, lying in a dense jungle is scary at nighttime, because how do you sleep when there's so many predators, things that are going to eat you, things that are going to sting you, things that can potentially kill you? So it was a lot easier when we grouped ourselves together as groups of people. And we had to worry about what other people think, because if too many people get pissed off with us, they kick us out of the tribe, and it can create a problem. Now what happens is some douchebag on social media who's never met you, knows nothing about you, who's probably a 15-year-old kid with a fake profile living over the other side of the world, who's never done anything or achieved anything, has a fake profile, and then starts talking shit on your page, and now you're reacting and it's occupying space and time in your mind without realizing that that person there has no impact on your life whatsoever. I talk to so many business owners and I'm like, right, you've got to put more on social media. You have to create more branding on social media. And I'm like, people in this day and age, they want to build trust. So they want to see you. They want to see your team. They want to see you laughing. They want to see you joking. They want to see what you stand for and they want to see what you stand against. But most business owners hide behind their business. And so all they're going to do is they're going to show their van, they're going to show their logo, they're going to show a professionally made video that looks very politically correct and, really nice. But no one believes you. No one believes that that's got people working there. They just don't believe it. Not in this day and age. In the 90s, in the 2000s, yeah. If you have a professionally edited video on your social media, great. You look like a professional business. These days, people know that those businesses are all full of shit. They want to see real people. This is why influencer marketing has become such a big part of the economy, because businesses can go to someone who have a large following, who trust that person. And if that person says, I use this lipstick, that community go, we want to use that lipstick too, because we believe that what that person says means something. Now, when I talk to most business owners about this, they freak out. They don't want to be on social media. They want to hide behind their business because they're afraid of what people think. They're afraid of saying the wrong thing. They're afraid of posting the wrong thing. But that's the reason why they have no brand trust. And a lot of marketing agencies or social media companies or branding agencies, marketing agencies, a lot of the time marketing agencies will say that they're marketing agencies, but they don't really market anything. They just create everything to look nice and they create nice videos and nice images, which really is a branding agency. A lot of them want to make everything look good. But if you look at the most highly paid social media influencers in the world, they're sharing their life. Now, yeah, they have nice photos, right? And sometimes they're edited. But what they're doing is they're demonstrating their life. So people can look at that and go, that person has kids, I have kids. This person has a fit body, I wish I had a fit body, I want to watch how they train. And then you watch how they train. Oh, wow, they eat chicken for dinner, maybe I should eat chicken for dinner too. And so what it does is it starts building brand trust and loyalty. And it's tough because you do get a lot of shitheads out there who will just criticize the crap out of everything. You know, I follow some of the biggest people on the planet on their social media pages. And man, the comments are full of a lot of like ball sacks. These are people who are the scum of the earth, who have no purpose, no real meaning for their life, who probably just wake up. I don't even know if they have jobs, but they probably wake up, do something that they don't enjoy, get paid minimal wage, and then all they do is they get home, they're bitter at everybody because they think that they're entitled to something. And so they get on there and they see this beautiful person that makes millions of dollars a year just sharing their life, and all they can do is just cast all this resentment and all this hate onto that person. That has nothing to do with that person. It has everything to do with the commenter. I literally have these creeps on my social media who we ban them and they make new accounts and they come back and say the most ridiculous shit. I was reading one tonight, this person I blocked probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, who was like, you know, talking about my finances and, you know, how I don't own anything. Well, of course I don't fucking own anything because I've got companies. My companies own most of the stuff because I'm smart. That's smart as a business owner. That's smart if you've got a good accountant, and it's smart if you've got good lawyers. You set up the right tax structures and accounting structures to protect assets. You don't need to have them in your name. I don't give a fuck whether I own shit. What I care about is what they produce and what they pay and the lifestyle that they allow me to live and the tax implications that they have and the legal protections that they give me. This is why you need to go to experts. If you're a business owner, or even if you're someone who's starting to build a portfolio of assets, you need to go to intelligent people. You need to go to people who understand what you're trying to create and allow them to work with you because they'll structure things right. But anyway, my point is that this person's sitting there going, you don't own anything, you live at home with your mum and dad. I'm a 40-year-old male. Fuck, like if I still live at home with my mum and dad, something's gone wrong in my life. Now, I'm not saying that there's wrong with the people who do that, but it's just most 40-year-old adults don't live at home with their parents. Like, you're adults. Now, sometimes the shit might hit the fan, you go through a divorce, maybe you lose your business. I get that, okay? You're starting again. Props to you. Keep going, right? Shit happens. But at the same time, like, it's completely inaccurate. And yes, I live in a home, but I just don't own the home because I've got the right tax structures and accounting structures and shit like that in place, right? It's smart to do that. And then, you know, this person has just gone on an absolute crazy rant for like a month, and that's why we blocked them. But now they've started another fake profile again and they're doing it again. What they don't realize is that every time they comment and every time they talk shit on my page, all they're doing is they're helping me to get out to more people because it boosts the algorithm. So they're sort of helping me in a way, but it's just stupid shit. But that same person then comes back and says, you know, well, I could literally buy, you know, your McLaren outright. Just because you've bought a car under finance doesn't mean that, you know, you've got money or anything. Do you know how stupid it is to think that you're going to buy a car that's worth $500,000 and that you earn, what, like $60K a year? If a standard car loan is 5 years, right? And this goes to show you the stupidity of most people. They just don't think. If a standard car loan is 5 years and you buy a $500,000 car that's 500 grand, that's 100 grand per year without interest. That's 100 grand a year without run costs, right? And so by the time you add all that stuff up, you have to have a disposable income. Now, banks don't lend money to people who can't pay back shit. They need a certain type of safety. They're very risk adverse. Banks are completely risk adverse. They really are. And any business owner will know that banks give you money when everything's going well, but when things go bad and you need money, they won't give you any money. One of my good friends, Dr. John D. Martini, said, banks will give you an umbrella when it's sunshine and take it away when it rains. And I love that quote because that's exactly what they do. They're risk adverse. That's why they let mum and dads who work a job and they know that they're going to work a job from the age of 20 to the age of 60 or 65. They know that they're going to give a 30-year home loan and it's pretty secure because that person's going to spend their whole life paying it off, right? That's why they do it, because they know that mums and dads will go get a job. To be an entrepreneur and to get a home loan is really fucking hard because you take more risks. There's more risks associated. So my staff will get an easier loan working for my company than I will getting a loan owning the company in most cases, depending on how big the loan is and so on. So even just the shit that this person comments is just ridiculous, right? Like it's crazy. And, you know, with tax structures and depreciation and all that sort of stuff anyway, I wouldn't recommend for most people, and not that I'm an accountant, you got to go and talk to your accountant about these structures. But to buy a car outright in a business is really silly because you've got all the depreciation that you can write off and that you can claim a lot of the stuff back on tax. So having cash available and then going and spending it on a car is silly when you can put it into other expenses like marketing or staffing and hiring and all that sort of stuff. So it is silly. But anyway, this person's gone to town on that. What my point is that don't take offense to that stuff because most people just show you the cards that they have. That's all they're doing. When someone gets on your social media and talks shit, all they're doing is showing you their cards about their insecurities. You know, I watched a kid with cerebral palsy lift some weights. And people in the comments are going, your technique is bad. You should learn technique. Like, this is horrible. I don't know why you're posting this stuff. But the kid had cerebral palsy. For most people, they can't even walk with cerebral palsy. This kid was lifting weights and he was doing such a great job. And it would have been so hard for that person who can't control their muscles, who has, grip problems and so on. Like, cerebral palsy means that a person, in most cases, their nervous system doesn't work like a normal person, so their joints don't move in the same ranges. Their muscles don't work. Normally they spasm, and that's where the word spastic comes from because their fingers pull back and so on. So this kid was doing such an amazing job, and to see all these comments of these absolute fucking assholes putting this kid down and telling him that they didn't even know the situation. They didn't even look at what the video was about. The video was about a kid with cerebral palsy in the gym lifting weights. Now, anyone who knows that situation would go, that's fucking amazing. Instead, people in there are like, well, that's not the right technique. You need to get a trainer. Like, I can't believe that you post shit like this. You have no idea what you're doing. That's just so silly, right? They couldn't even spend 10 seconds to look at that video properly. They just reacted. And they think that they're helping, or they think that they're doing the right thing. They think that they're, Robin Hood saving people. Just all the time, everything's a scam. And they think that they're helping everybody, but they're the same people who are stuck who never get anywhere in life. Because to them, everything's a fucking scam, right? Everything's the scam apart from what's common, which is a fucking scam. For most people, university is a scam. But that doesn't mean that millions of kids and people around the world, if not more, probably tens of millions of people every year go to a university and college to get a degree. And in most cases, in countries like Australia, the government lend the money with interest rates or with interest that they're going to pay off for years. And most of them don't even know whether they want that job or that career or not. They essentially left school and said, I think this is what I want to do. And now they've got a debt that they're paying off. To me, that's a fucking scam, right? But most people do it because it's common. Most people go out and buy a car, which is a depreciating liability, and they think that that's a good investment. But they're losing money on that car immediately. You tell them to go and invest that in future education, or to go and learn more about money and finances, or to go and learn more about yourself and develop your own skill sets in an area that you love or enjoy. Now, if you don't love and enjoy an area of life, then you need to figure out what that is, which is building your own success map in life. That's why I created Thrive Time. Because I think that it's fucking ludicrous that people go out, they start a business, they buy a house, or, they go get a job, or they go to university and then go get a job, and they don't even know whether these are the things that they want to do in life. Then they're already 10 years in, they've got kids, they've got debt, everything like that, and now they've got these golden handcuffs that they're stuck in. They don't really want their job, they don't really want the lifestyle that they've created, but at the same time, they're trapped. I think that sucks. If they could just spend a couple of $1,000, come to an event like Thrive Time, know exactly what they want to do, what they love, what their values are, what their purpose in life is, what their mission in life is, how to create a form of lifestyle balance that works for them, that's uniquely theirs, set effective goals, and then build the right mindset, they're going to fucking crush it in life and love it. But there's lots of people out there who think that spending a couple of $1,000s on personal development is a scam. But at the same time, they went to university, got a HECS debt or a government debt. It might be worth 30, 40, 50, 60 grand, and they've got to pay that off. And then they realize that they hate the job and they leave that career. What did they get for their money? It's shit. What I'm getting at is, like, you really have to understand the types of people who post shitty comments like that. Normally they're very cortisol driven. They are over entitled, and then they feel like they have been done hard by society or by people around them. And they spend all their time scrolling, looking for something. And all of their emotions get triggered by social media. And so they feel like if they can be Robin Hood and tell people that this is bullshit and this is a scam, even if they know nothing about that thing, they feel like it's helping them to be superior, or that they've got some sort of moral high ground. And then if they can scroll through and they see a beautiful person, they're like, oh, well, that woman's got a fat ass. And that makes them feel better all of a sudden, because they know that that person who's attractive would never date a shithead like that. And then they go through and they see someone who's making money, And they have to try and figure out why that person has got so much further ahead than what they have. So then they tell them that they're a scammer and they rip people off, and that the only people who rip people off and do wrong by others, that's the only way that they could get ahead. Because in their own shitty, ignorant mind, that's the only way that they can justify it to themselves. Not the fact that if they just looked in the mirror that they would realize that they're spending hours a day focusing on other people. Not that they are looking in the mirror and not seeing their own shit that they should be working on. Not seeing their own gaps. They lack that self-awareness. If you're listening to this, I hope that it gives you the confidence to just be more of yourself and put yourself out there. Because all you can do is put yourself out there. And just because someone thinks that you're fat, that you're stupid, that you're a liar, that you're a scammer, and sometimes it's even those who are close to you. I was talking to a client yesterday, and they were wanting to put more stuff out on social media, and they'd given up drugs, they'd given up alcohol, they had got into the coaching industry, but a lot of their friends are still doing drugs and alcohol and partying. And so they didn't want to put stuff out there that made them seem like they were more superior because they knew that their friends would drag them down. So they just hid away from it. That's not a good idea. And I just said to them, look, you don't have to go out there and say, if you take drugs and alcohol, you're a piece of shit. You don't have to do that. You just have to say, look, when I used to take drugs and alcohol, I did it for these reasons. Now, for me personally, I talk about this. I used to do it because I had a lack of confidence. I never took drugs, but I used to get absolutely obliterated on alcohol. I would get drunk before I went out, and I thought that I was having fun. Like, you know, my mates would go, hey man, come over my house. And I'd just drink a 6-pack in the cab on the way to their house so that when I would get there, I would be confident. And I'd be like, woo, I'm the fun guy. But I wasn't the fun guy. I was the guy who was drunk. And what would happen would be I was always the fun guy, but I hid it under all my insecurities. And so on a normal day, I would be afraid of going up and talking to people. I would be afraid of putting myself out there. I would be afraid of just, you know, smiling at people walking down the street. Now I've got that confidence. I do it without alcohol, so I don't need alcohol because I have confidence. I realized at some point, the more I did my mindset work, the more I worked on my head, the more I realized that I had all of the things that was going to make me successful and make me love my life. They were just clouded by all the shit that had been told to me throughout my life that had made me feel uncertain, unconfident, you know, all the self-comparatives, all of that shit. It rattles you as a person. And so you start doubting everything. You start doubting your confidence. You start doubting whether you've got confidence, whether you've got courage, whether you're driven, whether you're determined, you know, whether you're accountable. All of those things are in you. You just don't realize it because they're clouded by all the other things, the self-comparisons and the judgments that other people have cast on you throughout your life. So what my point was that you just have to get out there. You need to do it in a way that resonates with you. You know, sometimes I'm a bit of a hard ass on social media and I do it in a way because it evokes people emotionally and it triggers them and it helps the algorithm push shit out there. Normally, like if I want to say something, I'll say it to people and sometimes I would rather be honest with people and tell them the truth about what I think. And sometimes I'll say it quite abruptly or quite aggressively because that's what they need to hear. But other times I can be quite caring and quite nurturing because that's also what they need. And I work with all different types of people, you know, like yesterday I worked with a couple of male business owners. 2 of them were highly masculine and highly driven. They need to be told shit straight. I can be blunt with them. They can say, oh, I got pissed all over the weekend and I was supposed to get shit done. And I look at them and I say, you fucking idiot. What did you do that for? And they're like, yeah, man, I know. You know, they're that type of person. But then I was also dealing with a mother of 4 kids who is entering into the coaching space. And for her, you know, I'm a lot more softer. I nurture her, you know, like I build her confidence and give her the courage that she needs to go and do the things. You've got to be adaptable as a coach. But my point is anyway, you've got to get out there. You've got to do the things that inspire you and just don't let all these people out there who have mediocre mindsets, who have average lives affect you. You also have to realize that when you're a leader, there are a few leaders and lots of followers. So the more that you put yourself out there, the more followers you're going to have, but the more people are going to criticize and judge you because they're following. That's all you have to realize. Like when I put my shit out on social media, I know that if I put stuff out to 20,000 people, out of those, there's probably maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people who are driven, who are ambitious. The other people just sit there and they just sit there and they just hang. They're never going to do anything. They'll never come to my events. They'll never message. They just sit there. They just follow the page one day and I'm just there, right? I'm in their life. Then there's a whole bunch of people who follow my shit because they just don't like me. There's some like picklehead who every time my team pop up a post or every time my team pop up an ad, he literally puts the laughing emoji on the page. He's been doing that for like 3 or 4 years. I've never met the guy, know nothing about him. He just literally sits there and just puts the laughing emoji on everything that I post and every bit of content. I don't get it, man, but people are weird. So you just got to be yourself. You just got to get out there and you got to realize why you do what you do. For me, the only thing I give a shit about is helping people perform better. I don't really give a shit about people who talk crap about me. I don't really give a shit who try to take me down. They're always going to be there. Every person who's ever achieved something has some asshole who tries to take them down. Whether it's an ex-partner, whether it's a family member, whether it's the family member of your extended family, whether it's your kids. At some point, some of you have not good relationships with your kids, but sometimes kids can get jealous or not like what you've done. It might be old friends. I've had old friends who try to tear me apart. I've had people that I've known and done business with and they were great people, but I just outperformed them, and then now they get all pissed off and bitter and shit. There are those people. Then there's a whole world of people who don't know anything about you and 3 seconds into your video, something triggers them. They just don't like you. And so now they have to have an opinion. Now they have to have a say. Now they're just coming after you for whatever reason. That's just how some people are. So look, I hope that gives you the confidence to get out there to do your thing. Keep kicking ass, driven mofos. Keep pushing hard. Do what you got to do. Live your life. I know that this community is here to support you. And I can tell you right now, I pick on people who are living a mediocre life who fucking hate it. I've met people who have hit rock bottom, who have got out of jail. I've met people who have done a stupid amount of drugs. I've met people who have done a lot of illegal things. And you know what? The moment that they say I'm ready to change and I'm ready to grow, I've got their back. When I meet someone who has high capability, high skill set, they're smart people, and they just sit there playing a game in life of just average, I'm like, you're a fucking loser. And I will let them know that. I will push people to achieve. That's what I love. I love getting the best out of people. That's what I want for people around me. Now, if people don't like that, they can get out of my community. But my point is, I've never been around someone who tries, who I will pull down. I will not pull down people who try or who have a crack. People who fail, love them. They're in the community all the time. They have a crack at something, it doesn't work. That's part of the game. Let's learn from it. Let's keep moving forward. I got your back. Let's go again. But most of society isn't wired like that. They will over-support people who give up on life and who are average and who just throw their hands up and give themselves labels that define the way that they live and the way that they operate. And so they essentially label themselves as mediocre by whatever they have. Well, I've got ADD and I've got depression and that's the reason why I can't do anything. And they'll tell you the story and, I can't because of my childhood. There's someone out there who has exactly the same situation, well, at least even close to that, who's kicking your ass. So you have to decide whether that is true or not in your life and whether you can do more. And when you do more, I guarantee there are great people out there who will support you. Driven people love being around driven people. Driven people fucking hate being around people who give up on things and who have no responsibility, no accountability, and who just want to live a mundane life and tear others down around them. They won't put up with that shit. So anyway, driven mofos, I appreciate all of you. I appreciate having you in the community. I appreciate that you listen to this podcast. I'm very, very lucky to have so many amazing people in the community who do want to grow and who do want to excel and who want to learn stuff. I know there's so many of you who have listened to every podcast episode I've done. Some of you even listened to my first podcast in 2015, I think, or 2014. I created my first podcast called the Mojo Master. And that podcast there went #1 on iTunes. So we had the #1 podcast in Australia, over the top of Lewis Howes, over the top of some of the biggest podcasters on the planet. I just decided to stop it. There's a whole story behind that you can hear on other podcasts. But when I started this podcast, people in the community said, well, listen. And I thought, you know what? They'll probably listen to a couple of episodes and then not do it. Some of you will listen to every episode. So I'm so lucky and so grateful to have such a wicked community. Anyway, Driven Mofos, keep kicking ass. Please remember to rate and review this podcast if you haven't already done so. It'll take you like 5 seconds. All you got to do is click on the Underestimated Entrepreneur podcast. And then on there, it'll bring up a little star rating. Just if you can give it a star rating, that'd be great. Anyway, have a great day. Keep kicking ass, and I'll see you on the next episode. Most people waste their life, and I just don't want you to be one of them.